some of those buttons work and some of them don't, apparently. So
I'm just not used to doing things this early in the morning. It's probably my fault.
All right. Well, I can understand that. Look, in all seriousness here, this caught everybody off guard here, and there have been so many rumors. I'm going to give you the microphone here. Just give me an update of what is going on, sir.
Certainly, and unfortunately, not much of an update this morning. Going back to yesterday, Coach Leach suffered what they described as a medical issue at his home, and had to be airlifted from Starkville down to Jackson to UMMC, where he remains stable, but he is in the ICU there. And beyond that, there aren't any public details. The university has said that they will not be releasing information. They're going to leave that to the Leach family. Mm-hmm. Do that. I'm told that his family has almost entirely made it in at this point to see what's going on with their dad. But to say he is in very serious condition would probably be even an understatement. That, when we talk about Coach Leach at this point, we're not talking about coming back to the sideline. We're talking about, is he going to survive? So that it is a very, very serious situation that Coach Leach is undergoing, and you're correct in that it came completely out of nowhere. That this was something that nobody, I saw him, Paul. He was at my house Saturday night, and he was in great health and fine spirits. And then less than 12 hours later, he's having a medical issue. So a complete shock to everybody involved, and it's been a very rough 24 to 30 hours here in Starkville.
I guess he had bouts. He was dealing with pneumonia at one point. Mm-hmm. For the most part, was he over that, as far as you know, or?
When I saw him Saturday night, if you watch his press conference or anything like that, he coughs. He was coughing constantly. And I think that was a result of some of that what you were just discussing.
Yeah.
But he seemed fine. He wasn't coughing. He was talking and laughing with people, taking pictures, and seemed to be having a very good time. And didn't seem to have any issues whatsoever. And to get the news, I got a text Saturday or Sunday around 2:30 or so, saying that, hey, something's happened up at Mississippi State, and they brought the team into a meeting, and Leach isn't there, and I think there's a medical issue. And I didn't know. I reached out to a source trying to confirm it. And by the time they confirmed it, the university had already released their statement. So, yeah, he did not seem to be having any kind of health issues Saturday night when I saw him.
Brian, we're to a point here where we who have the very tremendous privilege of a microphone are always cautious, and I think that's the responsible thing to do on any conjectures or just thinking ahead of the box here. But I will say there's so many people, and I think you've just kind of alluded to that too, that this is so serious. It's not a question whether we know the bowl game is out of a picture, but whether the coaching career will continue.
I mean, honestly, Mr. Gallo, at this point, like I said, for Mike Leach, best case scenarios in this point, in my opinion, would just involve being able to be alive.
Yeah.
To simply be able to, get out of the hospital and see his family again and live out the rest of his days. The coaching thing is very, very secondary right this second.
Did you say all of the kids are there? Everybody's there as far as family?
I believe if they are not all there, they are almost
all the way.
All there. I know his son came with him to my house Saturday night to the party, and I spoke to him for a little bit, and he talked about being around his parents right now, and he's been staying with them for a bit. And then he said he had 3 sisters, and I think obviously they're scattered across the country, but I believe all 3 of them are, if not already in Jackson, they are making their way there now.
He is how old?
61.
61.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, not good news, especially with on the heels of earlier bad news from Mississippi State with a player. It's not been a good year.
And that's kind of funny in that the year ended so strong when you win the Egg Bowl.
Yeah.
And you feel like you got a lot of momentum, and then you had the transfer portal stuff. And Dylan Johnson, the player that got into the not altercation, but argument, I guess you could say, with Mike Leach, or had an argument with Mike Leach. Tweeted last night that he was distraught. He said, I hate to hear this. Hope you send prayers to Coach Leach. So I hope that they can find some sort of, and I don't know how reconciliation would work in this situation, but hopefully that they can put all that behind them. If you looked at Twitter last night, it was flooded with players and former coaches and coaches from around the country and media members all, saying prayers for Mike Leach and talking about their experiences with him. So a very positive outpouring of support for the Mississippi State head coach, and we'll see if those prayers are able to be answered.
Brian Hadad is on with us. Brian, does this change the schedule of events, the progression of working as far as practice and the trip to the bowl game? What is there any changes on that right now? We understand.
Yeah, that's a good question. From a football perspective, I'm not sure what they're going to do because they're in the middle of bowl practices. You only get so many of them, and the game is on the 2nd. I don't think there'd be any move to cancel the game at this time. I think that cause knowing Coach Leach and the competitor that he was, he would want his team to go forward. Yeah. That would be with a very heavy heart, regardless of what happens between now and then. But as far as the practice schedule goes, my guess is it's just going to sort of depend on what happens with Coach Leach, because if the situation gets worse, they would obviously, want the team to be there and things like that. So my guess is this is a very fluid situation right now, and we just have to see and monitor the progress of Coach Leach. When
were they scheduled to leave?
Oh, it would have been after Christmas, for sure. Probably, if I had to guess, I've seen the actual bowl schedule yet, but they were probably going to leave like the 27th or 28th to be down there for a few days, to let the players enjoy the Tampa area and all the bowl activities they have planned.
And I read what Sid had put out earlier. Did he give you an idea or give anyone an idea where the next scheduled update would be, or would there be one?
Mississippi State, when they go into bowl season, they tend to send out an email on the Mondays and say, this is what our schedule is today. Let us know, are we able to go talk to the players or talk to the coaches after practice? I would be of the opinion that we will not be talking to players or coaches after practice this week because, there won't be any football-related questions really to ask them. So I'll see what that schedule looks like, but we'll see.
Yeah. I would also imagine they would give any update reports on Coach Leach's health and his status when there's something new to report.
Right. Well, the university, like I said earlier, the family will handle all updates going forward. So if the university sends us something, it's from the Leach family. My guess on that would be the only two updates we're going to get are he's awake or he's gone.
Very, very interesting and very, very sad, very, very unexpected, and our prayers are with him and his family. Goodness. Brian, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I know you're not a morning person, and I'm glad you're awake, number one, just that you're awake. So,
I'm Mr. Gallo, anytime you need me, I'm always happy to come on.
You're a good man. Thank you.